Hi everybody and welcome to Rose Sky Tarot. Now this reading is for Leo for the 21st of January 2019 and it's a general reading so it may not suit everyone but hopefully there's a message here just for you. Now this is coming out a little bit early and it's just really because I'm going to have some time off at the weekend. Okay, let's have a look at these top three cards. Now we have the Ace of Swords in reverse, the Five of Swords in reverse, and the Knight of Swords in reverse. Now, is there something that you're struggling internally with? Do you have like an intention to do something, but you're aware that if you do this action, then the consequences could be quite high for you? And you're possibly going to extremes in whether or not you do this thing or not. So there's a lot of confusion here, and you don't really know all the ins and outs. You're just reacting to your own thoughts. So probably the best thing to do would be to talk to somebody about it instead of, you know, reacting to something where you don't really know what it is that you're reacting to because you don't have the facts. And in moving on to the Five of Swords, are you maybe thinking that if you go ahead with this idea or way of thinking, that it may be something that costs you more than benefits you? So it's going to be something that, will have a negative impact on your life. But at the same time, if you don't do it, if you don't be truthful, then, there could be negative consequences about that because, that there could be some sort of, lie there to a certain degree. And in moving on to the Knight of Swords in reverse, because you don't know what the rules of the game are, are you maybe getting yourself all stressed out and ready to fight when you don't actually know what you're walking into? So you're ready to battle when it may not be necessary. So probably the best thing to do would be to check things out before overreacting to a situation that you don't know what it's going to be like, but you're reacting to your perception of what you believe it's going to be like, which is two very different things. Now let's move these cards over to the side and have a look at the reading. Now we have the King of Wands in reverse, we have the Queen of Pentacles, we have the Eight of Swords. Now, is there something that you believe that you're entitled to? And if you don't get it, then, there'll be hell to pay because you become so demanding and overpowering in your views that, whew, that'll be a fight and a half. And, whatever this expectation is, is something that is providing you with a lifestyle. And, this lifestyle or resources or finances, whatever it may be, is something that is giving you a life that is not overly ostentatious, but you are able to live a reasonably good life, and you're able to make the most out of the money or resources that you have. But because there are restrictions on this, this is something that you feel entitled to and are receiving, but it could be that they come with strings attached. So it's something that you could feel a little bit trapped in as well, because could it be that, the things that you expect are because of some problems that you've been having? It could be that you're limited in things that you can do. And it could be that it's something that is stress related or mental health related, because it's how your mind is spinning out of control that could be part of what the trapped feeling is, or that could be in itself the problem, is how you view things or how you react to things. Now let's move on to the next three cards, and we have Death in reverse, Nine of Wands in reverse, and the Empress in reverse. Now, because of these problems, do you maybe think that this is going to be you? There isn't going to be any hope of any change, and that you should be holding on to these these things that are providing you with a lifestyle, that you shouldn't really be trying to make a change here, because you may be feeling not capable of doing it, and you feel that it's something that isn't going to change, that the thought of changing is something that's hopeless. And although you may be capable of doing something, or you may be not wanting to try, and you're becoming a little bit defensive about that, and maybe digging your heels in a little bit. And, because you do have a little bit of capability, you're maybe holding yourself back because of the problems that you've been having. You may be thinking that, the situation that you're in is never going to change and it's hopeless. And in moving on to the Empress, that you may be becoming dependent on these things that are providing you with a life. And that you don't want to rock the boat, because you don't know where that would lead. So you could be, holding back because you don't know in the long term how it will affect you if you release a little bit. Now let's move down to here. We have the Nine of Cups in reverse. We have the King of Swords in reverse and the Chariot in reverse. Now, holding back is something that seems to be the theme here. And you could be thinking about yourself in, the long run, and in this situation in particular. That could be the reason why you're maybe not making the move, because if you do make a move, this situation is one that's going to be really, chaotic, because you don't know where it's going to go. You don't know where the money for your lifestyle could come from then. So you are thinking about yourself, even though it is a restricting situation. But, another thing that's going on in your head is that, is it maybe time to do the right thing? Is it time to maybe be logical and be truthful with yourself and, be reasonable about what your aims are? Do you want to be restricted like this long term because of these problems? Or are you maybe going to, be truthful with yourself and try? But these problems, whatever they may be, is something that is definitely hindering you, because you're constantly questioning yourself about, what these problems are and whether or not you're going to be able to, do other things. Will you have to be dependent on this lifestyle forever? Because things are feeling a little bit hopeless, that you think that things are never going to change. And that holds you back, that keeps you still. And it makes you feel a little bit out of control as well, because if you've given up hope, what are you going to do? Where's your direction going to be? And that could result in a lot of infighting within yourself, within your head, about the best thing to do. Now let's move on to the next three cards. And we have the Two of Wands, the Eight of Wands in reverse, and the Three of Wands in reverse. Okay. Now, despite holding yourself back and doubting your capabilities, do you have an idea that you would like to do? Is there something that you would like to do as a job, or maybe as a business? And what you need is the confidence to believe in yourself, that you actually can do it. And moving on to the Eight of Wands in reverse, because of all the chaos that has happened and all of the the confusing problems and, the negative thoughts that you have, that it could feel like you're running up Mount Everest. And you could have all of these dreams, and have all the confidence in the world, but these problems you feel could still hold you back because it's something that you don't have control over. And moving on to the Three of Wands, is that maybe something that would hold you back enough that you don't move forward on this idea? Because that may be a bad decision for you, because that would mean that you have totally given up on yourself and become totally dependent on the provision of this lifestyle and the restrictions that it holds. And that's not a very satisfying life, because you're living your life by someone else's rules. Get my teeth in? And you could miss out on so much in life on doing that. Let's bring these other cards back in. And we had the Ace of Swords in reverse, the Five of Swords in reverse, and the Knight of Swords in reverse. Now, there's a lot of, differing ideas in your head, and, they just seem to be battling each other, and you just don't know the best path to go down. What would be the best thing for you? And it could be that you're jumping to extremes. One moment, it's yes, all in, and the next minute it's definitely no. And it's so confusing that you just don't know where to go. Because you don't want to be in a situation where you lose out. Even though you do have some capabilities, you don't want to lose more than you gain. So it could be that, that is something that's, being considered at the same time as, am I capable? It could also be thoughts of, should I? Because, I'll lose more than I retain or gain. And these thoughts get so out of control. You get yourself so stressed out and, stubborn about what you should retain, what you're entitled to, that you could be ready for a fight before you even discuss it. You haven't even checked things out, and yet you're already stressed and ready for the battle. So you're exhausted before you even start. So this could be something that is a problem to do with how you perceive things, how you process things in your mind. And it's this way of thinking that is maybe what's causing all of your questions about your capabilities. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, and I hope that this hasn't offended anyone, and everything that's been said has been said with the best of intention and in reaction to, the connection between the cards that have been pulled for you. Now, this is a general reading, so it may not be relevant to you as an individual, but if there is even one or two cards in here that you do feel, speaks to you in some way, then, that's the best thing. And that's why I'm doing this. Now, I hope that the dog barking has not put you off. It's my neighbour's dog. And I'll see you next time. Bye.